Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Lead with Soul, the podcast for women leaders who are done with overcomplicating success. Today, my guest is someone I love very dearly. We just figured out we haven't chatted in like 2 years, but thankfully, we have social media where we can keep up with each other's lives. So, without wasting any more time, welcome to the beautiful and talented Tricia Brook. Tricia, I'm so glad you were able to make it.
Oh my gosh, Meghna, anytime you ask me, I'm a yes. I don't even have to know what it's for.
Oh, thank
You're
you.
one of my favorite people in the world and one of the most influential voices I know.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. And, our relationship has touched many facets over, you've been a mentor, you've been a guide, a very trusted advisor during some of the darkest periods of my life. And I am honored to be able to call you my friend. I cannot wait to share your brilliance and your magic with the incredible people that log in regularly to listen to what we share. So I am super, super excited. So let's dive in. For those that do not know you, and I'll post all your amazing stuff in the show notes. Folks, I'm not going to waste anybody's time by reading it out. I want to hear from Tricia. Those that don't know you, share a little bit about what you do and more importantly, your journey as to how you got there.
Thank you for the opportunity to share this, Meghna. I am from a small town in Missouri called Arnold, Missouri, and I grew up on a farm. We lived next door to my grandparents, my father's parents. There was a well and an outhouse, and we climbed trees. And I'm not that old. I'm just letting you know that it was rural Missouri. My grandmother had an eighth grade education and never learned to drive. And I always knew that I would leave there as soon as I could. I had a big vision for myself, one that I didn't know what it looked like necessarily, but one that I knew was possible for myself. And I saw my sister dancing on stage when she was 4 years old. I was seven, and she was dancing in a recital. And I had this knowing I'm supposed to do this. It wasn't about being a tap dancer in a pink poodle costume. It was something more than I could have ever at 7 years old articulated. And I asked my parents if I could sign up for dance class. And I met Lillian Denoyer and Sharon McGuire, daughter and mother team, who owned a dance studio in Arnold, Missouri. And I began going to dance class. Quickly knew that this was my purpose and my mission was to be an artist. And I became obsessed with PBS and the Nutcracker and Baryshnikov and Gelsey Kirkland and all of the Russian ballerinas. And it was clear to me from 7 years old, I would grow up and move to New York City and pursue a career in dance. And that's exactly what I did. And I moved to New York when I was 20 years old after going to a liberal arts college for an accelerated BFA program in dance. So I graduated in 3 years, moved to New York, pursued my career in dance, had the privilege of dancing with Lucinda Childs, Robert Wilson, Big Dance Theater, Ben Munisteri. I performed in opera houses in Paris, in Lisbon, in Palermo, in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Academy of Music, in New York City at Lincoln Center. And I absolutely loved being able to contribute in that way. I also knew that I was not going to be one of those dancers who was going to limp in and out of ballet class in my 40s and wanted to close out my dance career on my own terms. So I believe it was at 36, I decided to create a one woman show that culminated in all of the works I had done in my entire career. And it was just like a Zen sand sculpture. The monks create these mandalas with sand, and they take so much time and care, and it's meticulous and it's beautiful and it's very intentional. And when they're done, they wipe it away because nothing is permanent. And that's exactly what I did with my dance career. And then I moved into organically choreography, directing, producing, writing, started working in film, television, and theater, loved that. And then all of a sudden, a friend of mine asked me to direct her TED Talk. And I approached it the exact same way that I approach working with actors. It's like a one person show, intention, choreography, blocking, script analysis. And I worked with her, and it was wonderful but I didn't really think about it. And she planted the seed that I should do this. And before I knew it, as you know, Meghna, when you open yourself up to the universe and you rise up to meet what's available to you, everything becomes available to you. So I had all these incredible speakers and no place to put them. As a theater producer, what do we do? What do? I produce shows. What's the best show for speakers? A TEDx show. So I became the executive producer of TEDx Lincoln Square, started producing events, quickly outgrew that platform and that brand, created my own brand, Speakers Who Dare, founded the Big Talk Academy, and realized I have an opportunity now to have more impact than I ever did as a dancer, which was limited to the number of people in the audience and the length of time I was on stage. And just like with you, being able to support you and helping you amplify and elevate your voice, that ripple effect of good that you leave in the world that's my legacy. And I consciously chose to not have children. And my legacy is all of you and all of the people that you touch by using your voice.
And in this incredible journey, did you ever struggle with imposter syndrome at any phase or any point?
It's such an interesting question that I get often. And because I was always a dancer, I never thought I couldn't do something. That doesn't mean I didn't experience failure time and time again. But when you're a dancer, you have to be disciplined. You have to have a high risk tolerance. You have
Mhm.
to take no as a daily challenge. You have to be able to have grit and tenacity and resilience. And there wasn't time for me to think I couldn't do something because I had to make it happen. And now I'm not saying that I don't get nervous before I speak or I don't get nervous before I go on stage. I love what I do and I care deeply about doing it. So I still have those feelings. Every once in a while, I will think, who do I think I am that I can write 3 books, produce documentary films, create a new company, run a team of 14, have incredible clients who are making the world a better place, supporting policymakers, supporting people who speak at the United Nations and in front of Congress. Who do I think I am? I'm from a small town in Missouri. And then I simply say to myself, huh, that's funny. Bye.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because a lot of times the biggest naysayers live here, right? Instead of people around us telling us whether we can or cannot achieve. So I love that. Along your journey, what was a challenge or a defining moment that may have happened that maybe changed your trajectory or kind of cemented the fact that yes, you were on the right path? And what did you do around it?
One of the biggest defining moments was when my dance mentor died of AIDS in the early 90s. I moved to New York City, height of the AIDS epidemic, and we didn't really know as much as we know now, obviously. And there was a lot of fear in the city. I remember when he transitioned, my heart was broken because I loved him and he was my mentor. And I also experienced this extremely selfish response that I didn't know how to process because I was so young. And the selfish response was, who am I going to dance with now? And I remember feeling so badly that I had that feeling because that was in my mind so selfish, but in reality, it's a normal human response for a young person to not know what they're going to do. And I am so grateful that he, up until his last breath, told me I could do anything. And because of that loss, I moved away from the dance company that he was involved in out of pain. And I moved towards being more independent and creating my own path. And knowing that I could count on myself and forge my own path, knowing he was always holding me up, it was a very big turning point for me. And it taught me that I can do anything and I don't need to rely on anybody else. I can create my own possibilities.
It was a blessing to come to that
Absolutely.
realization for sure. You are a leader in so many ways, right? Leader to your team, leader to your mentees, people that you impact around you as well. On a personal level, what does leadership mean to you, and how has it, I'm sure it has, but how has it evolved over the years for you?
Leadership for me means listening, and it means creating a safe space for the people you are leading to be the best versions of themselves. And the example that I can give you specifically when it comes to directing a show, when I'm in the room with my actors, they know more than me about the character. If I've hired correctly, if I've cast correctly, they know more than me about the character. So it's my job to get out of the way and to let the magic happen. It's my job to cast the right people, or if you're talking about a company, to hire the right people and then to get out of their way and to let them shine. It also means modeling the kind of leadership you expect from them. I'm a very demanding leader, and I'm also very kind, and I'm very loving. I'm very heart centered. And because everyone sees me working at a level of excellence, I don't even have to ask for it. They all rise up to work at that level of excellence. So leadership is about listening, it's about modeling, it's about understanding your leadership style. And I personally, I embrace the wisdom of my Buddha nature when I lead. And we all have a Buddha nature, however you want to connect to that, whether it's God, source, kindness, love. The Buddha nature is the impermanence, the detachment, the oneness, the loving kindness, the discernment, the understanding that we have to coexist with suffering, but we don't have to create suffering. And that's how I see leadership.
And I see how you inspire those that you lead to aspire to be more like you. You work with a ton of high achieving women and men, of course, but because our show primarily focuses on women, what are some of the most common mindset blocks that you see high achieving women have about anything that they're setting their minds to?
Something that I've noticed is the high achieving women are concerned about how other people will see them, and they're so comfortable making themselves small instead of allowing themselves to be uncomfortable by making themselves big. One of my mentees, who is now my social media manager, Emma Cullen, and if you're listening to this, hi, Emma. I mentored her when she was a senior in high school. So her parents would drive her from Bucks County to New York City every Saturday for an entire year, Meghna, a teenage girl, to come and study with me for 4 hours. And we worked on her acting and her performance skills so that she could apply to college and go to college for acting. And she's a wonderful actor. And she is, in addition to being an actor in New York City, she is also my social media manager. And she interviewed me on the podcast one day, and her one of her questions was, "What do you say to women and girls who are told that they're being unreasonable?" And I said, "Be unreasonable.
Be more
Be
unreasonable.
more unreasonable." Absolutely. And so the high achieving women are worried that if they're fully expressed as themselves, that they're going to hurt someone, make someone feel less than. The reality is, and you know this, Meghna, when we are all our full on, incredible, abundant, powerful selves, everyone can be that too. There's room for all of us at the table. And the moment we start to fully express our greatness, our abundance, our badassness, then it gives every other woman permission to do that too. So I invite your listeners to join us today in being unreasonable.
Yes, I love that. Be authentic, be yourself, and be unreasonable. The world needs more unreasonable women for sure. What is the best advice that you have received that has changed how you show up as a leader for your team, for those of us around you?
Best advice I've received, I think it's that anything is possible. And my husband always says to me, "You made that, you can make another one just like it." And I say that because when you are at a certain level, people start to copy you. People start to even if it's unintentional, maybe they've studied with you and all of a sudden they're saying what you're saying. I'm not always saying it's malicious. And my husband, Joe, he always says, don't worry if somebody's doing that. You made one like it, you can make another one just like it, even better. And
Exactly.
so I think trusting that there is such a plentiful amount of giving we have as women leaders, and to trust that all we have to do is tap in, and that abundance is within, and all we have to do is call on it and it will come forward.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a morning routine? Why am I asking you this? I know you have a morning routine. What, what habits or what is part of your habit routine of your morning routine that has been a game changer for you?
I am extremely devoted to my morning routine. And I talk about negotiating compensation all the time for speakers, but the one person you should never negotiate with is yourself. And so I do not negotiate my workout, my morning workout, my morning meditation. I
Mhm.
love to putter, and that means watering my plants, taking care of Eva Moon, making sure that I can look out the window and see my beautiful skyline, journaling. And so I get up at 4 and I have some coffee with Eva Moon on my lap.
For our listeners, Eva Moon is her beautiful kitty.
Yes, she's my fur baby. Thank you, Meghna. And then I move into the more active part of the morning, which is meditation, journaling, and working out. And I do not miss that. It's a 7 day a week healthcare, wellness plan, and self care plan for myself. And that is because I serve at such a high level. I function at such a high level with my clients that I need to be on point every single day. And the incredible people that I work with and that I mentor and advise as speakers, they are incredible thought leaders. They are successful. They require my 150% attention and advisement. And so it's game on. And I also feel very strongly that tomorrow might not come. Today might be it. And I want to show up in full alignment and in full service. And that requires me to be integrated in a self-care routine.
That's amazing. That's honestly something we all need to understand and incorporate that tomorrow might not come. Today might be it. So show up as 100%. I love that. Wise words indeed. Other than your morning routine, how do you balance all the professional achievements and work that you do with your personal life without burnout? I mean, that's a big theme we see in, women leaders. How do you have that fine balance?
It's a practice that is also a non-negotiable. At 5 o'clock, I leave this office and I go spend time with Joe, my husband, and we talk about our day, and we might stream some White Lotus and then we go to bed. But I literally leave this space, and above the door frame as I walk out, it says, "You are patient and loving." And I leave everything that might be going on here that might be at all stressful, and I exit this room patient and loving. And I enter my space with my husband. And that is also a ritual and a practice that is a non-negotiable. I do not work past 5 o'clock ever.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. Making sure we have time for our loved ones, but also for those that we serve. Because our show is called Leading with Soul, what does leading with soul mean to you?
I love this question because I've been having a lot of conversations recently about AI and soul and creativity. And I believe that there is an important place for AI in our world to make things more efficient and to um, help entrepreneurs become more efficient so they can spend more time with their families. And I don't believe that AI has the soul for creativity that we need to remember to connect to as authors, as speakers, as artists. And when I think about soul, that is something that is my energy, my vibration, my essence that is like a fingerprint. There's no two alike. So my soul is my vibrational imprint. And therefore, I tap into that vibrational imprint in order to lead. And it is my hope for those listening that you also tap into your vibrational imprint as a leader and trust that that imprint that you're putting out there energetically will touch others. That way, when your body is no longer here, your leadership will
Your
go
energy.
on. Your
Yeah.
energy and your leadership will live on.
I love that. That is amazing. If you could go back and talk to the Tricia that was 20 years old, what would you say to her?
I would tell her to stop with the pretzel boy. You have bigger things to be paying attention to. You do not need to be worried about dating him.
We have bigger things to achieve. If anyone who is tuned in is struggling with self-worth, with their mindset, with feeling less than, what would your one piece of advice, if they're feeling stuck, uninspired, what would you say to them?
If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling uninspired, if you're feeling like your voice doesn't matter, I want you to think about how you feel about the people in your life. Would you ever judge someone for feeling that way? Would you ever silence someone else for using their voice? Would you ever want someone to be small or play small? And if those answers are no, and you're doing that to yourself, you're violating your own principles. So think about how you're showing up in service of others and turn that, reflect that back onto yourself, shine that light back onto yourself, and give yourself the opportunity to share your voice, stop judging, and give yourself permission to fully shine. And that will catapult you into forward momentum.
Love that. Love that. What's coming up for you that's new and exciting?
Oh my goodness. I am writing my third book. It's called Being Smart is Stupid: Why Embracing the Wisdom of Your Buddha Nature is the Secret to Great Leadership. That will be coming out in January of 2026.
Well,
Pre-orders are going to start in October. I am working with incredible speakers and I am inviting people to join the Big Talk Academy, which is now all year long. You can work inside of the Big Talk Academy and create your powerful, amazing Big Talk. Learn how to promote yourself, learn how to monetize. So that's something that's very exciting. It's the first time we're offering the Big Talk Academy as an evergreen program, which is really exciting.
that's amazing. How can our audience learn more about what you do and maybe potentially even how you can help them?
Amazing. I am on all the socials at Tricia Brook. TriciaBrook.com is my website. You can watch big stages on Amazon Prime. You can stream the documentary about my work with speakers. And I would love to give your audience and your listeners an opportunity to join a free on-demand masterclass that is called Command Any Room. And it's an opportunity for you to learn how to command any room, whether you are a speaker, a thought leader, or somebody who needs a little support when it comes to networking. And that's triciabrook.com/command.
Perfect. We will have all of this posted in the show notes along with your website, link to your socials, all of the fun stuff. I want to say thank you for coming on in the middle of what I know is a super busy day for you. And as always, I appreciate your wisdom, your insights, and it's just good to see your face.
It's so good to see your face. You're such an influential voice, Meghna, and I love you.
Thank you. Love you too. All right. For those that are tuned in, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Go follow Tricia. Share this with people you know that can benefit. And we will see you next week.